All right, so guys, we've got our Wednesday, March 18th programming today. So what we got going on? First off, if you're a member at CrossFit Palace or Palace Fitness here in Ithaca, New York, we're doing a community workout tomorrow. So at noon, we're gonna meet at Lower Buttermilk, just off Sandbank Road. There's that big soccer field, and we're gonna go there, and we invite all of you guys to come and work out with us. So if you're in the Finger Lakes area, you're more than welcome to join. We'll be practicing good social distancing, all that stuff, but I will lead you guys through a full class where we don't touch anybody, don't high five, and we talk like 10 feet away from each other. So be super fun though, so join me. Otherwise, if you're gonna hit this at home, so warm up 4 times through, 30-second run in place, 10 Cossack squats, 10 bird dogs, 5 cat cows, and then 5 bent over Y's and T's. So for your run in place, relatively simple, just run in place. Try and get those knees up nice and high. Think about it like doing high knees in place. After that, you got your 10 Cossack squat, very staple exercise. Again, feet are wide. Hip crease drops below the knee while the foot remains nice and flat. Should feel a nice stretch in the groin as well as a stretch in the hip. And then the hips stay nice and low. Transition to the other side. Same exact thing. 5 on each leg. When you're done there, you've got your bird dogs. So for your bird dog, the easier version is going to be hands and knees. You want to create a nice straight line. So here, not here. So don't reach up. Try and stay nice and neutral when I'm here. I'm going to touch my knee to my elbow and then return to this position. 5 on one diagonal and then 5 on the other diagonal. Little RX plus. Start in a high plank and then you'll do the exact same thing. Straight line, stop, straight line. You'll go through 5 on each side that way. And then for the rest of your warm-up, you've got cat-cow and bend over Y's and T's. So for the cat-cow, just a spinal warm-up. So again, round out, try and tuck the chin as much as you can. And then extend, look forward, relax your breath as you do that. And then for your bend over Y's and T's, take a light object, like a shoe. So 1 in each hand. You're just gonna bend over, find 90 degrees, Y for 5 reps. And then make the letter T for 5 reps. Run through that 4 times. Once you're done, conditioning is going to be a long doozy today. So 4 times through, you got a 400-meter run. If you're not going to go outside for a run, it's supposed to be beautiful here in Ithaca, New York. I would highly recommend that you go for a run. If you're not going to do that though, 100 mountain climbers. So 50 on each leg. For the mountain climbers, if you're going to do those, again, plank position, knees come up nice and high. Try and stay on your toes the entire time. Alternate legs. After your 400-meter run, you've got 20 jumping air squats. Make these as hard as possible. Jump as high as you can every time. Make this workout effective. So don't just open your hip. Don't just barely bring your feet off the ground. Get after it. Get in the air. After that, you've got 20 Russian kettlebell swings. You can use a dumbbell, you can use a kettlebell, or you can use a loaded backpack. If you've never done a dumbbell swing before, you just hold the head of the dumbbell, grasp it here, and then same exact line of action as a Russian kettlebell swing. Hips go back, chest comes down, and then my shins stay nice and vertical, focusing on using my hamstrings, on using my butt to propel that kettlebell up. Depending on what object you have and how heavy it is, if the Russian swing isn't challenging because you don't have a weight that's heavy enough, feel free to go all the way overhead with the swing. Otherwise, if you can load up a backpack that's relatively heavy, just swing it up to eye level. Again, load that thing up, grab it by the straps, maybe wrap them around a couple times so that it stays nice and close. And the only thing you might have to do differently is take a wide stance. So if you've got a backpack or you've got an odd object that you're swinging, again, wide stance, so it's almost more of a sumo stance, but then the line of action stays the same. If I'm holding on to the straps of the backpack, boom, right up to eye level. Wouldn't recommend swinging a backpack over your head. Probably a bad idea. After you're done 4 times through, so when you're done with 4 rounds of that, 100 sit-ups. Good old-fashioned sit-ups. Again, make them pretty. So when you go to do your sit-ups, you can butterfly them or straight leg, it's up to you. Most important thing that I like to think about is when you lay down, try and keep a relatively neutral midline. As you sit up, touch, try not to hunch forward and relax. And same thing when I come off the ground, don't do a spinal curl off the floor and then hunch forward here. Try and practice good posture the entire time you're going through your sit-ups. Once you're done there, that's going to be your workout. If you don't know So if you don't have like a smartwatch or something like that where you can measure out 400 meters, I would recommend what I usually use to track my run distances. If you just Google USA Track and Field Map It, they have a great, it's all Google Maps, and you can do it from your house and you can see where a good 200 meter turnaround would be, so you can run out and back. So again, just an idea if you don't have a watch that'll track the distance for you. After all that's said and done, your accessory work, as few sets as possible, 3-minute Superman hold. So for the Superman hold, don't be lazy with this. You could definitely just lay on your stomach for 3 minutes and call it a day. Probably not what you're going for here. So keep everything nice and active. So when you're on the ground, make sure toes are pushed together the entire time. My butt's nice and squeezed, and then my arms are extended and up overhead. My chest is pulled nice and high off the ground. For a little bit of an RX Plus option, take a deep breath into your belly and really try and hold that brace as hard as you can the entire time you're going through a Superman. So again, try not to relax and just kind of, half-ass it, be lazy down here. Try and get as little of your midline on the floor as possible. So super duper active, create that nice little canoe shape. And then when you're done, you got some stretching, 3-minute saddle pose, 3-minute seated straddle. So for a saddle pose, goal here, we're stretching out the knees, we're stretching out the ankles to start. And then if we can lean back a little bit, we're gonna be stretching out a little bit more of our quads, hip flexors, and our low back. And you can stay here, lean against the couch, lean on a pillow, something like that. And if you're comfortable, you can lay down further and further as the 3 minutes go by. And then for your seated straddle, you're gonna sit down on the ground, legs out nice and wide. Oh. And the goal here is to get a hamstring stretch, to get a groin stretch, and then a low back stretch. So just the legs out as wide as you can, lean down, and whatever you can get on the ground, fingertips, elbows, head, whatever you can do, just try and relax into that pose for 30 minutes. And that is your at-home programming for Wednesday. So enjoy, and hopefully we'll see you guys down at Buttermilk Falls tomorrow for a community workout. Take care.